Welcome to The One Thing, where each episode features our signature segment, Pandora's Box. We dive into hot topics that challenge the norm and ignite real conversation.
Inspired by Greek mythology, Pandora's Box isn't just about chaos. It's about truth, transformation and hope. That's what we bring to every conversation.
Have a cause or business that deserves to be seen? Want to be remembered forevermore? Be our next special guest. Contact us today at theonething@edgeradioaustralia.com.
And you're listening to The One Thing on Edge Radio Australia. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in wherever you are all over the world. I'm really excited about today's show. Our topic today is when power becomes a weapon and the everyday face of bullying. And what's really interesting is so many people have actually experienced this. We often think of bullying as something that happens in schoolyards, but what happens when it's adults that are doing the bullying? And not only that, Leanne, but they are in positions of power. Would you like to introduce our special guest?
I will. He's sitting next to me. This is Brendan, everyone. Brendan Cook, a respected dispute resolution specialist, investigator and cyber security analyst with a deep commitment to justice and integrity. He has more than 8 years' experience through government and private sectors, and he has led judicial reviews, federal court cases and investigations that challenge the very systems that are meant to protect us. Brendan's here as a former union leader, registered industrial agent, and he brings a rare insight into how institutional power can be misused and what it really takes to stand up when others stay silent.
This man has so much to say. I cannot wait to get into this, but I'm going to press a little button here because I think we've got a video of you. You're a bit famous. What can I say, mate? It's brilliant to have you here, but I think...
we only have famous people here.
Of course. It goes without saying. Have a look at this video and it gives you a little bit of a taste of what this man is about.
And whilst you're having a look, comment, engage, tell us what you want to know.
Bunbury Regional Prison houses some of the state's worst criminals, but it's not the inmates under investigation tonight, it's the staff. 7 News can reveal a group of prison officers at the Southwest facility are facing shocking allegations of bullying, intimidation and sexual harassment. Their female colleagues allegedly subjected to vulgar behaviour. Another bombshell for our prison system, already cooking under the intense pressure of public scrutiny.
Inappropriate comments, female prison officers grabbed and pulled into offices with senior officers, and inappropriate activities occurring, and other crude behaviour like sniffing seats and making comments in front of other peers.
7 News has been given a copy of the allegations. Much of it is simply too graphic to report, but it includes serious allegations, threats of rape, sexual advances and even death threats. One woman says she was confronted with decapitated dead animals left at the doorstep after speaking out. 1 week, this possum, the next, a puppy. It's understood nearly 20 complainants have come forward. Their experiences now the centre of a WorkSafe and Industrial Relations Commission investigation. The WA Prison Officers Union also confirming it's assisting a number of members with sexual harassment claims across the state, including Bunbury.
You don't expect to go to work and to be harassed. You expect to have your colleagues and your peers protecting you and looking out for you, and not be acting like the actual perpetrators that they're looking after.
In a statement, the Department of Justice said it's aware of the matters and is investigating. Cassidy Moscone, 7 News.
Brendan Cook, welcome, my friend. You have got a lot to say. You can lose the cans if you like. You can lose the headphones, and we can see you in all your glory. Mate, look, I have so much admiration for you. Like, you have stood with your ethics. You have stood up for so many people who didn't feel that they had the position or the power or the strength to do so. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say today.
Thanks, Aaron, and also thanks for having me. It's much appreciated.
100%. All right, shall we jump into the questions for this young man, or should we just let you have a bit of a rundown? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'll comment on the video you just showed.
Why not?
So that was a couple of years ago. Very serious allegations came forward. At the time, they gave a small number of 5 to 10 people. It's now over 50.
Wow.
And growing.
Okay.
And it's spread pretty much across the state for a bit, where different people from different prisons were coming out, and then you had people within the actual justice sector coming out and saying the same thing.
Sure.
Conduct of high-profile individuals, and we're talking people who are high up in power who should have some sort of moral compass.
You would think so.
But displaying the same attributes and behaviours, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, thoroughly agree with you. On that, I mean, I'm first and foremost, I'm blown away the fact that Seven West Media actually ran a story that's a genuine story. That,
I know.
Like that is just tip my hat to
Floored
them.
me.
Look, I'll give them credit when they deserve it. And that's great that they ran that story. I'd like to have seen them do a follow-up because obviously, as we know now, it's become so much bigger. Yeah. Do you want to actually go and start talking about them? Let's talk about those in the high positions of power that are involved in this.
Well, firstly, I'll comment on 7 News.
Sure.
So shortly after Cassidy got involved, the reporter, she was then seconded out of the country for a year. So she was removed out of the way. Obviously, she's a good reporter, and she also has her own morals when it comes to reporting certain things. But every reporter we've engaged with after this has either been removed or disappeared.
Wow.
Look, that sounds so extreme, right? But it's true.
It's true.
It's so true. So, okay, what I just said about Seven West, I'll take it back. Well, I was just blown away by the fact that it was actually happening. I was actually watching some genuine news, something actually, and let's be frank, that's on the nightly news, that is supposed to be issues that are prevalent to West Australians, okay? And obviously this is, whether you've been to prison, or know someone in prison, whatever, we've all been touched by the prison system, believe it or not, one way or another, okay?
Absolutely.
Whether it's
So tell us about your involvement with the prison system, because you were a prison officer, that's correct, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So I was a prison officer for 8 years service. Some of that was private, some of it was government.
Okay.
People give a lot of criticism to privately run prisons, but I will say that I had the best training compared to government. So,
what sort of criticisms do they bring up about private?
Well, they say that being a private prison, they don't operate as well. They take shortcuts. They don't offer a quality service, and that's a complete lie. The service I saw in a private prison versus a government was very clear. It's very disappointing to see that as a state that we can't even fund our own government-run prisons properly, all the officers.
Yeah, and it is such an important thing, and we haven't talked about this, and we'll take the opportunity to do it now, I guess. But I've got a couple of mates who are also prison officers, and they have said similar things to you. People are aware of it. In the case of one particular friend, he said straight outright, he will not talk about it publicly in any way, shape, or form. So again, tip the hat to you because you're doing it, because he knows. He's got a mortgage to pay, right? Kids in school, all that sort of thing. He knows that he can't possibly risk losing that job.
And is that the reason you left the prison system?
No, I was effectively forced out. My ending was a case of discrimination. They wanted to see vaccine papers to prove that I'd been vaccinated at the time.
Okay.
And I couldn't produce that because I don't hide this. I haven't had a COVID vaccinations. I'm not an anti-vaxxer because I had all my childhood immunisations, as most of us have.
Yeah.
You sound like everybody else in this room, including the cheap seats over there. You're allowed to clap and cheer when you want to. We've got Scotty from Scorpion Media sitting over on the side,
hiding off camera very cleverly. Yes.
But in saying that, and I apologise that I couldn't make it last week. I did come down with a bad case of the flu, and first time in 3-4 years I've been sick.
Oh mate, if you just had a vaccine, you'd be okay.
I have to tell you, I was panicking. I did my last will and testament. I was preparing for the worst because society and the government told me that because I didn't get a COVID vaccination,
Sure.
I was definitely going to die within a couple of years. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to finally leave this interesting planet.
The Wu flu has come for me.
I'm not going to look back, and I'm going to go.
Look, Brendan, I think the things you got to really focus on, okay, understand this. A lot of science that we learnt during the whole COVID situation, the Wu flu, as I like to call it, is you were clearly sitting down because you're safe when you're sitting. It's only when you stand up because it will hunt you
Or
down.
eating.
If you're
safe when you're eating as well.
Yeah, you're safe when you're eating because if you stand up, it will hunt you down.
Yeah.
I believe our Premier told us that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the level of intelligence we saw from our leaders during that time was very telling. But what disappointed me the most during that period is seeing what I thought were strong men cower.
Huge, wasn't it?
Cower.
Yeah.
And that's also what I believe results in the way our justice sector, the way our living standards are. When a tyrannical system allows to flourish unchallenged, this is the result.
This is the result.
Yeah. So how many prison officers, what percentage refused to have the jab? Do you know?
Oh, it's hard to say what the percentage was. What I can tell you is I had, when I first started putting together the challenge for the Ben Falconer case, we started off at around...
just maybe explain to people that have got no idea what that means, because we have people listening from all over the world.
Okay, so when they decided to introduce mandates to WA, there were multiple sectors, including prisons, police, fire and rescue, nurses, paramedics, Western Power, Alcoa, multiple sectors, multiple workers from around the state who were extremely worried and concerned about the government implementing no jab, no job. So these groups formed, and the group that I led was the justice sector group. We started off at around 120 people, and effectively we joined up with all the other industries as well as the police, members of police, and that was led by Ben Falconer, who was challenging the WA state government and the health minister in the Supreme Court under a judicial review. And as a result of that, by the end of it, there was around, I believe, 66 officers who didn't cave and stayed within
Out of
the
how
challenge.
many?
Initially about 120.
Okay, so about half.
About half.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But let's also talk. There'd be a massive number who just felt, look, again, I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got kids in school. You are coerced. You're actually, I find it very interesting because we've got all these laws about coercive control right now. Well, we are in a coercive, I'll get it yet, control relationship with our own government.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up, because I was very confused as to how the government could get away with conducting themselves the way they did. Because we get brought up to believe that we live in a democracy where there is tiers of control. And I also did a brief amount of study with Augusto Zimmermann, who went into Australian politics and the Australian Constitution. And one thing he taught us was the separation of powers. So you've got the judicial systems, you've got the politicians, you've got the safeguards, and you've got the people, and all the different tiers of our system, and there's supposed to be safeguards in between each one. What I quickly learned, especially working with people with their workplace matters and disputing the way they get treated, and also during the COVID mandates, is there is no longer a separation of power. It's a big circle of connection. And that includes all government agencies. It includes, well, an interesting fact is the State Solicitor's Office, which is the government lawyers for the state. Someone did some investigation and they found that, I'm going to say, the majority of law firms get funding from the State Solicitor's Office every year.
Wow.
So why would you stomp on the
hand that feeds you?
Exactly. But why would you want to aggravate or annoy literally the state lawyers who are putting money towards your.
Now, this is Australia-wide, but we're not sure what happens in other parts of the world.
I suspect if it's happening here, it's got to be happening in the other states. But then there is the question of people go, oh, well, the Queensland police officers and nurses and fireys challenged it and they won their case based on human rights.
Yep.
Now, the difference between Queensland and us is that they have a state-based human rights legislation.
Oh, and we don't.
do not. And then people then talk about the Geneva Convention. Well, unfortunately, nobody realises this either, but we were never a signatory to that because WA was separate from the rest of the country. So when
Is that right?
Yeah.
But how can that be? How can we be one country and have a state that's separated in that way?
That's a history lesson. So when the Federation was formed,
Yes.
Yep.
we resisted joining up and signing up, which means that anything that the Federation signed after World War II, we did not sign. So effectively, if you want to look at it on a broad scale, we are lawless. And we're lawless in the sense of there is no human rights in Western Australia.
Wow.
Well, okay, let's open that, Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bill of Rights, okay? Because we obviously, worldwide this show is, and we get a lot of people in America particularly. They have a Bill of Rights. A lot of other countries have a Bill of Rights. A lot of people don't understand as Australians, we don't have one. And our constitution, like we talk about free speech, we have a free speech that's protected in the High Court. But gee, it costs a lot of money to get to the High Court to get that protection. So, I'd love to know your opinion about Australia being without a Bill of Rights.
Well, it's not good for us.
No.
Because there's nothing to fall back onto. And that's what a lot of people are finding when they go into the actual judicial sector itself to fight things.
Yep.
Is they will hit a brick wall once they get to a certain point, and it's all by design. Now, our Australian constitution states that everyone should have a right to be able to seek justice, and it should be available and accessible to them.
Yes.
It's not the case.
Well, let's talk about the word accessible, right?
That's right.
Now, the cost. Okay, we'll keep coming back to that. When a case that has to go to the Supreme Court, for argument's sake, generally you're not looking at anything under $200,000. So it becomes a situation of the us and them, doesn't it? Really, unless you have the means. Okay, how much justice can you afford to buy?
That's exactly how it works. Is how much can you afford to buy, and then that's proven by the court systems not allowing people to self-represent themselves.
That's right.
And when they do self-represent, they put up every
obstacle
available, and they spend taxpayers' money unlimitedly fighting self-representing litigants until they've got no ability to fight anymore. And then they justify going, oh, we were learning by this case, or there's some stupid reason on why they did what they did. But what it is they're preventing justice. And I was listening to an interesting podcast recently, and it was an American Department of Defense lawyer. He was a criminal lawyer. And he said the reason why he's so successful is because he's come to terms that people in power, politicians, never want to admit when they're wrong. Same with government agencies, never want to admit when they're wrong.
Of course.
So what he does is he makes them an offer that they can't refuse, where they still get to look good, but he gets to get a resolution with his case.
Okay.
And that's how he wins a lot of his cases.
Unbelievable.
But what we see in Australia is a lot worse, because in America, there is still some sort of justice sector over there, whereas here, justice is non-existent just about because of the way they do things.
I completely agree, and I'll give a personal example of this, and I'll very happily name and shame the magistrate. Magistrate Hogan in West Australian courts. Pardon?
Sorry. I said Paul Hogan.
Do you know what's even more frightening? I think it might even be. But anyway, but with Hogan actually put a situation where, I was actually representing myself, okay, and he actually refused to allow me in the room. right? So I wasn't allowed in the court because I questioned the court. I questioned the fact that the court had actually made a mistake and had made a ruling that was against the law.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right. I knew which is terrifying. Why in the world would I know the law better than a magistrate? Because I brought that up, I was ostracised from the case and therefore not even allowed to represent, which is an absolute, unbelievable prejudice, but and a miscarriage of justice. It's not even allowing justice.
It isn't.
Now, that was allowed to happen, right? You've literally got a case there where there is only one side, so therefore it isn't a case, and therefore I couldn't represent myself. The only option was for me to go and spend $40,000 to fight that out. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is how these people are operating, and you would see a lot of these kind of cases, I would gather.
I do, and there's currently a case before the federal court at the moment.
Yep.
Where you've just reminded me of a critical thing that's just come to light, where one of the lawyers that are representing the state has a friendship with the judge. Now, that conflict of interest was brought forward by the plaintiff, by the person that's representing themselves, and she also had evidence to suggest that this lawyer had been donating money to that judge's causes.
I know this one.
At the end of the day, she gave them an opportunity to declare their conflict, and they've refused to do so.
Okay.
And that's been brought to the court. Went, look at this. Do you feel that's appropriate? And nothing.
No.
So how can we change that? How can that be changed? Like if you've got people that are bringing that to the fore, and there's crickets. How can we make others aware of that? Like,
well, the way they tie these cases up is if a case gets too juicy, where it's highlighting too much negative aspects of what's happening, the court will suppress the case. They'll stop media from accessing the case, and they'll stop public from accessing the case, and they'll also suppress all the documentation associated with the case. They know what the courts and the state know exactly what they're doing. They've set up the system in a way where at any given time they can suppress the matter and stop it from getting seen by the public.
So what's their reasoning behind that? Is that because it's in the public's best interest not to, know?
They will say it's either in the interest of state secrets, or they'll say it's in the interest of a victim. They'll make it up. They'll make it up. Because that's what they do. They make it up.
And let's look at, one way we can fix this is we can put better politicians.
Can I just interrupt for a moment? I can't stop coughing. Scotty, would you like to come and sit where I am and continue?
Well, Scotty, I don't know if he wants to be in the show, or I don't know. There we go.
Guess what?
Out of the front pan into
the
Why not? There we go. And he's got his best suit on as well. So, you're ready to go, mate.
I'll
Absolutely.
let you introduce Scott. I've never actually done this before. But
No, it's all right.
I can't keep coughing.
Here we go. Here's your phone. Oh, hang on. You're still plugged in.
me in it.
Okay, there is nothing like being alive.
Nothing like
Is this where we go to an ad, or?
Do you know what? That is
we're going to an ad.
a great opportunity to have a quick little break and back in just a tick.
Not the intro. Panacea.
Oh, there we go. That's
Is
what I want.
pain holding you back? Bowen Therapy with Panacea Healing can change that for you. It's never too late to recharge your health, career, or purpose. You have the power within yourself to change what no longer serves you, taking your life and health to another level. panaceahealing.com.au. You can do anything.
Ready of that case?
Oh, here's what we're going to do.
We're back.
Welcome back. It's Edge Radio Australia. You are watching The One Thing, or even listening. Who knows? Now, you may have seen that Lisa has changed appearance quite considerably here. I want to introduce this guy, Scotty, who is just an amazing part of West Australia, quite frankly, a documentary maker. Plug the doco very quickly for us.
Well, we've got a documentary called COVID 1984, the Western Australian experiment, which was a joint experiment.
It was?
And they tested it out on the people in WA.
There we
And
go.
where's Scotty from?
From Scorpion
Scorpion
Media.
Media.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Media.
So go on there. When you're busy liking and subscribing this video and Edge Radio Australia in general, go over here. Go to his page as well on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow the amazing stuff that he does. And I think no matter what, you need to watch that video. You need to watch that video.
Yeah, it's not online yet, but anyway.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Doesn't matter. It will be soon. Yeah.
When's it online, Scotty?
No, soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Very,
me saying
very
that's giving
soon,
you a
yeah.
push, right? But let's get back to Brendan on that one, mate. Like we'll keep on that line if we can.
Yep. No worries. So these in relation to the justice sector, it's when they stop people from being able to represent themselves, and then they tie up these cases and lock them down. The public is never aware.
That's right.
And then it gets to the point where either the person that's representing themselves or whoever's litigating with state or a government agency, they get forced into the mediation aspect of the case, where they're given an amount and then an NDA gets signed and then it disappears. And it's not appropriate because the amount of taxpayers' dollars that goes into suppressing these matters, it's in the public's interest to know where their money is going.
That's right.
And they're just throwing it around like it's nothing, and it's not okay.
So have any of these lawyers or the judicial system come out and actually gone, I'm not working in this condition. I can't be dishonest anymore. I'm walking away. Or are they just all dishonest and just go play with it because they're in it for the dollars?
You're talking about lawyers, Leah.
I know, but
The word lawyer.
I'm thinking some people may have a bit of a conscience.
All I can say to that is there is a high turnover of staff in the state solicitor's office.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is the money.
Yeah.
It's as soon as you go. Now, I've got friends who are lawyers, so I'm not going to put them all under the same banner, but it is all about dollars and cents.
It is.
But that's also what the court system is.
Yeah,
it's about dollars and cents. So the human aspect of a case gets thrown out the window. And when you go into these mediations and you go into these rooms, the mediators and also the people who work within the courts, they'll tell you that every time. It's everything you've gone through, we can't take that back. It's happened.
Yep.
But what it comes down to is the dollars and cents.
Makes no sense, does it, really?
Well, guess what? Not everybody is for sale, right? And the problem is that you're right. They're buying silence there. The NDAs get signed and the story goes away. It is just such a problem. You're right. I mean, it's an open checkbook. They spend. As far as the ethics of these people, I'm not going to say all lawyers are bad because as much as I would love to say that lawyer means liar, but there are good lawyers out there. But to be frank, those who are drawn to those positions are normally, they have very nefarious reasons for doing it, okay? They are narcissistic. A lot of them are psychopaths. In fact, I think the greatest majority of these people actually have psychopathic traits that go into these careers. They will overpower people. They will actually, the bullying from judges in Western Australia is off the charts. I mean, I know of a judge who is literally has threatened sexual assault and all kind of carry on against a lawyer, and because a lawyer wouldn't actually have a sexual relationship with him, they can't even be in the same courtroom anymore because the judge used that to basically well, put it this way, when that lawyer, every time he went into court, he never won another case in front of that judge, right? Yeah. Just because that judge, put sexual advances to him. Now, these sort of people, the people of that quality should not be in positions of power like this.
But you've knocked it on the head, though. But there is a reason why they select those type of people to lead those roles.
That's right.
It's because they can be controlled.
They can be controlled.
Let's look at the Jeffrey Epstein case in the US. That's a classic example. When you have something on someone, you can control them. Now, that's the same for the people who are in power over here.
Yes.
Now, if we sit down and honestly think about it, do you honestly think that our government is in charge? Do you think that Roger Cook's in charge? Do you think that Mark McGowan was in charge?
Roger
of course
Cook,
they're
not at all.
They never were. It's whatever their masters say to them. That's who runs the state. And normally follow the money. Right? And then once you find out who's pouring a lot of money into the state and has interests in the state, then you understand why it's happening. And the truth is, we're getting raped for our minerals.
We
Yeah.
are.
So
100%.
if you look at who's controlling the state, it's simple. It's the energy companies. And now someone said to me who works within the mining sector and is well known, but I won't name drop.
Okay.
They said WA has one of the highest number of CIA agents in the world. Now ask yourself why. It's because CIA also protects certain individuals,
Okay.
right? Now, what is the interest in our state?
It's all
Yeah,
mining.
It's all mining.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all mining, right? So it doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter that we've got the highest number of Indigenous kids per capita of the world, suicides,
Disgusting.
right? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that anyone that goes up into the mining towns up north can see that there is young child prostitution happening
sexual
where they're
abuse.
giving chicken treat dinners to kids for sexual favours.
Unbelievable.
Never mind any of that's happening because that's WA's war chest, right? And anything that affects WA's war chest is a no-go zone,
That's right.
and they get protected. And it's not acceptable. But when you allow that type of behaviour, it spreads like a disease, and
it
that's
does.
what we're seeing in this state. Is we're seeing that our state has been taken over by a very dirty and horrible disease of corruption and greed, and anyone that sticks their heads up gets knocked off because you're threatening their war chest.
That's it.
How many victims? You mentioned, was it over 50 or 100 of this?
It's over 50 now.
Over 50.
It's over 50.
We're talking about. They're all female officers.
Male and female.
So male and female officers, over 50 of them, they've been successful in their claims.
No, they have come forward because they've experienced sexual harassment, bullying, intimidation, or outright corruption. I've got statements that have been written and handed to me and have been put in various undisclosed locations just in case anyone comes looking for them, where they've witnessed drug smuggling into prisons. There is a superintendent who works in Bunbury who appears to be bulletproof and untouchable because she was found to have been using prisoner labour to make garden ornaments and materials for an external business that her and her husband was running and profiting of prisoner labour, which is, again, it's a violation of the Geneva Convention because you can't profit off slave labour.
That's right.
Yet it's happening and it's acceptable.
In Western Australia.
And Bunbury Prison,
Who would have thought?
they were chopping down trees and selling firewood for like $30 a trailer load and outdoing all the local businesses in that area that have permits to do that. And all this happens and nothing.
And one of
Nothing
those
happens
female
to it.
prison guards I saw in that video there, she had a dead animals beheaded, a dead puppy beheaded and thrown on her doorstep while the case was going on at critical times, apparently, wasn't it?
So what it was is when she first started coming forward and speaking about it, and they knew that she was taking it to the next level, there was the attempt to intimidate and to shut down. So what they, and it's well known that they will intimidate witnesses. There has been so many resignations from government positions because something happens to a male or female worker. It can be bullying, sexual harassment. As soon as they catch on that they're about to speak out, the intimidation starts, the drive-by starts, the dead animals start.
This is why I put this on the screen, and thank you for the questions come through the World Wide Awake Business Network. Obviously, someone a great supporter there. Why are whistleblowers and marginalised voices silenced or ignored? And I mean, I think you're pretty much answering the question because of the massive interests involved here.
That's correct. And what it is again, it's protecting their war chest. So when a whistleblower comes forward and went, hey, I saw money laundering, I saw drug trafficking, I saw the X, Y, and Z, they're going to look at it from a distance and they're going to make the person feel all warm and fuzzy. We're going to support you. We're going to make sure you're safe. We're going to do everything we can. Next minute, the person's on their ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
They've been fired. They've been kicked to the curb and they've been ostracized. They've been shut down. Why does that happen? The truth is there is no such thing as protection for whistleblowers or people who come out and tell their stories of what's happening either within their organizations or within their government positions. you were taking a very big risk by coming out and speaking in the climate that we have today, because you will not be supported.
No.
So, Brendan, what's your role with all these people, all these things that come in your, I'm being really naive here because a lot of the viewers probably wouldn't know what your role is with all this information that you actually accumulate. Do you then advocate for them? What's the role that you do?
So the role I do is I'll advocate for them.
Yep.
I will steer them into the correct direction of where to start.
Yeah.
I will help them educate themselves for self-representation purposes.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer of self-representing yourself up to a certain point, because nobody knows your case better than you do.
Yeah.
Right? You know what happened. You know the times, the dates, the when, the how, the why. And nobody can tell your story better than you can. Now, when you self-represent, you're forced to also put that all together in writing so that someone else can understand what happened to you.
Yeah.
And then by the time you've gone through the initial steps, whether it's the Human Rights Commission, whether it's Fair Work, whether it's the IRC, you've gotten to a point where you've got everything you need to then get a solicitor or a lawyer involved if required, if you can't find a way to resolve your matter yourself.
So if there's someone out there today, and I just want to touch on this because I think we're going to otherwise go way over time, but I want to touch on it now. So if there's someone out there today that's being bullied in a private practice or in a government department or something like that, they can then seek someone like you out, who then helps them and steers them in the right direction, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
What I would tell people to do is when you're in a situation where you're witnessing something or you're being bullied, evidence.
Yeah.
Right? It's so critical that you don't burn your bridges until you've got what you need to take it to the next step.
Yeah, because I know a few people in the hospital system.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm asking, because they're afraid. They're afraid for their for their job, for their livelihood, for their money.
Absolutely. And I've represented a few nurses.
Yeah.
And I will come out and say the WA Country Health Service is one of the worst government departments I've ever engaged with.
Wow.
They're rude, they're disrespectful, they belittle their staff. They are a animal to themselves, even more than the health department. And it's true. There are government workers I've seen get treated worse than private industry.
Do you think it's getting worse now than it has been, or do you think it's still on par back in when everything was swept under carpets all the time, or do you think now it's just coming out more?
I'm going to put it like this: since we've had a Labor government, it's a lot worse.
Yeah, okay.
It's a lot worse because you've got you also have your unions who are supposed to be aligned with Labor. So for workplaces to be becoming worse than they are, they're becoming a lot worse.
Yeah.
Right? It's offensive to the unions and the Labor Party because they're supposed to be for the worker.
Yeah.
But the truth is that we have some of the worst working conditions we've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, look, the relationship between, the trade unions and the Labor Party, I mean, they're one and the same. They really are. I mean, as an organisation, and like a lot of places, you have to join union, otherwise you can't work there. You're just simply not allowed through the front door. And it's interesting with this entire show, we're talking about bullying, effectively.
Yeah.
Right. What do unions do? Right. And if they are the Labor Party, the whole thing is based on bullying, where it's bullying the nurses when we went through all of that. Every industry is finding this going on. So look, left wing, right wing, I mean, it's the same bloody bird. And trust me, I'm not a big promoter of the Liberal Party, but the Labor Party is so destructive to the rights of everyday Australians. The entire system is just, it's nepotism. It's just absolutely disgraceful. The bullying, the loss of our rights, the loss of our money, the fact that, quite frankly, you talked about our resources. All of our resources are being shipped overseas, but so are the profits
Absolutely.
We in Australia shouldn't have to pay a cent in income tax.
You're 100% correct. We should not have any taxes.
No.
But we have enough resources here for us to be very well off, right, and still have lots to spare. But we're not seeing that. But we're also not seeing those resources go to critical infrastructure.
No.
We're not seeing enough hospitals. We're not seeing enough schools. We're not seeing enough housing. And when it comes down to is who screams for all these workers? Well, it's the energy sector, right? Because they're always complaining they don't have enough workers because they need to drill faster and they need more minerals.
Yep.
So how do you do that? Well,
we're not allowed
you just ship them in from all over the world.
Brendan, we're not allowed to use our own natural gas and our gas here. We're not even allowed to use our own.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It feels like communism to me.
It does, doesn't it?
Literally, it's our gas.
Yeah.
It's in our ground, and you're going to charge us for it.
That's right.
Like you put a plug in the ground and you extract it, and what? You can't just put it straight into the homes. If there was to be a political party that I started up, one thing I'd be running on is no more bills, energy is free, right, for all WA or Australian residents. No more taxes, right?
Yep.
And Australia First policy, where we look after ourselves first every time.
Here's a quick whinge. I'm 2.5 years into a 3-year wait for an operation. Okay, and I just got my phone call and another letter about it today. Okay?
What is it for?
Another postponement. Okay, a lobotomy. Right.
Have you tried a vet?
It's just me. I had one of those. No, but anyway, that far in. Where I'm going on this is, okay, I have friends who and people I know who work in Centrelink, for argument's sake.
Oh.
Now, those people who work in Centrelink are telling me that right now, people who are coming in from Afghanistan, I'll use that as an example, right? So last year, 10,000. Funny enough, fighting age men came in from Afghanistan, no women, just into Perth, right? They all went straight in, were actually able to have our health system, access to a health system immediately. Now, I've lived in Perth all my life, essentially, you know, I'm WA born and bred, but I have to wait 3 years.
That's correct.
They can walk straight on in.
That's correct.
Right? There is no waiting list for them whatsoever.
And what I will tell you is I've represented immigration workers, so officers, who have to sign a non-disclosure agreement on the start of their employment where they're threatened with prison if they disclose what's happening within the facilities.
Yes.
Privately, because I haven't signed an NDA, I can say this, is that people who come into this country get the first pick of all resources and services. They get phones, cars and housing.
Yep.
Now, that includes housing. That does include housing.
If you are waiting, I was speaking to someone the other day, a young woman who's got a small child. The current wait for her for housing is 12 years.
What?
12 years for public housing.
Unless you come in as an immigrant. Or,
if you sneak in as an immigrant. So quite frankly, she needs to go to another country, come on back, and then she can get her home. Right? Yeah. But there is no way. And now you can confirm that?
I can confirm that they get looked after before Australians, right? Every time, and that includes Centrelink as well. So when you
why do they do that though? What's the?
Because they're importing voters. They're importing voters. All these people vote for the Labor Party.
It's fucked.
Well, yeah. I was going to say it's criminal, but you nailed it. True. Let's just dive back. There's so many fantastic questions coming through, so I just want to jump in, if I may, and bring some forward. Pardon? Yeah, that's where I'm heading. There we go. Now, this is the one that's on screen. Bullies, born or made? What are your thoughts there?
Made.
Right.
Nobody's born a prick or a dickhead. Like, it's always made.
I agree completely. Everybody, we all on the same page on that one? Okay, there we go. So many coming through. See, what have we got? Now, okay, where are we? I did see one. Okay. Sorry, my apologies. This is a lot here.
Well, Martine's got one there.
Okay, I'll jump to Martine's in just a moment. So, yes, next one up. Let's have a look at this. So, okay, Brendan, is it normally weak people being bullied, or does it surprise you the calibre of people that are worn down?
No, it's the other way around. It's bullies are normally weak people.
Yeah,
it's normally the weak people who bully everyone else.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
Vatican City has enough of our dollars and City of London.
Oh, they do.
There was another one there from Courage is Secure.
Yeah, greetings from Courage.
Oh, we'll
Greetings
get that
from
on the
Robin.
screen. Hello, Robin. Lovely to see you there. And look at a magnificent freedom fighter there. And I always love your opinions.
And yes,
to come
Leanne,
through.
that's when I said it was fucked. Yeah. I'll say it again.
Right
Because we
there.
can.
Just to be
Why
sure.
can we?
Just to be
We're
sure.
a freedom of
Swear.
speech.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're allowed
I
to
knew
swear
that.
here.
Oh, look, drop every bomb that you want.
Fucking hell, if I don't know that. Shit. Jeez.
Oh, dear.
I'll behave myself.
But well, we say that, and the censorship we get is quite ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
You know, oh, yeah, absolutely. It's quite a thing, and
We can
yeah.
bleep it out.
no, I wouldn't, but we won't, right? but the bullying is very interesting. Like you mentioned about the drive-by situation when you become a whistleblower and you start.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what the biggest
It's a
thing
big part of it.
is intimidation.
Mhm.
And that comes from state lawyers and government agencies where they will intimidate someone into being silent with legal action, where you lose your house, you lose your bank accounts. The intimidation tactics that they use is next level. It's absolutely disgusting.
They got you
And-
by the short and curlies because they've got they've got access to our property. They've got access to our bank accounts.
Oh, we don't have property anymore.
We don't.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
don't.
That was
exactly.
That was sold in a private
Yeah.
land sale to the new private company that owns all our titles.
But are you happy?
I'm miserable.
No,
Oh.
no, not. Yeah.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. What
No,
an
nothing.
It'd
unbelievable.
be
Yeah,
really
no.
nice to be sovereign, wouldn't it? Like completely.
Look, this is our country. Whether you were born here or whether you decide to come here and you make a life here, this is our country. Our resources belong to us, not government. And I want to actually fire back on when we were talking about the legal sector, okay, and government. What a lot of people don't know, and I think this is disgusting, is how much money is donated from the legal sector to political campaigns, right? That's it's a big problem. The money goes in both directions, and then what happens is they pay it back with contracts, right?
So Insurance Commission of Western Australia,
Yep.
start there.
Start there.
So I've got it on very good advice that if you want the equivalent of USAID, that's where you start.
Okay.
Every government has a way of laundering money. Start with the insurance companies.
There you go. I mean, look, we can see some very clear money laundering going right now as far as the wind turbines. That's just nothing but a wind. That is money laundering 101. That money's all heading off to Norway, and I'm not going to carry on. Yeah, the grants. The fact that they're going to sell us the
I
energy.
think that's starting to unfold.
it is slowly,
that's
isn't it?
fallen apart.
But I want to just make it clear. That is money laundering.
Giant
Giant
scam,
right?
isn't it?
It is a giant scam. It's so great that people are actually now able to see this. And this is the wonderful thing about, the wonderful things about open media. People like Courage is a Cure. So many, even you, mate. Even Scorpion Media, getting out there, and we talk about these things now. So I think to a big degree, when the internet sort of became mainstream, they set a rod for their own back. They've now given a lot of us the opportunity to actually share these messages. So when a lot more people know, perhaps a lot more people will have.
Well, this is the age of independent media.
That's
We're
right.
living in it. We're the new
we are.
media.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And, we see a lot of these talk show hosts going down, which is good, over the US.
I'm enjoying that, yeah.
The project's gone. I don't know about you, but
has the project gone? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great day, right?
Yeah,
That
get
was a
fucked
great day.
project. Independent media. I love you guys. And,
Look, it's all changing. It really is changing. And,
Yeah.
mate, it's such a pleasure to have you here. And the fact that you are speaking so candidly, because, you can be attacked and you can be, I don't think you can be intimidated, which is great.
No, I lost they lost the ability to intimidate me a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I got a giant box of state secrets that I can pull out at any
That could
time,
be it.
but I don't know. But
he's got broad shoulders too.
But it's also, I always said that if they ever tried to imprison me, it's going to be a fun day for me because I'll burn down every fucking prison they put me in.
Oh,
and there'll be
nice.
nothing left.
Okay.
There'll be nothing left. I will make sure there's
Not
nothing left.
physically, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah. But I like the fact
Metaphor.
that
He was metaphorically
absolutely.
speaking.
But when they take
Allegories are good,
when they take everything from you, right? They actually what they don't understand is, well, this is my opinion on this one, right? When you take everything from a man, from say, guess what? You actually make him more powerful.
Yeah,
when you
they
have
don't
nothing to
understand that.
lose, oh my God, the power you have.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, I had obviously family court's my big beef in life. And I had a family court lawyer, independent children's lawyer, say this to me. He said, If you run as a candidate in the upcoming election, you will never, ever see your children again. Right? That was his dead set threat to me. Right? Took it to the LPCC, all the authorities, whatever.
Yep.
They will do everything. They'll keep shifting it. Oh, you'll go to Triple C. Oh, we move it. It just gets moved around. Nothing actually happens to it, right?
No, it doesn't.
But what I'm getting at is the fact that he thought he could just intimidate me. And said, well, guess what, mate? Okay, you may have taken everything that means everything to me, but you've just made me more and more powerful. And I think that a lot of people need to take that as an impetus to actually find their own power.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When you take everything away from a man or a woman where they have nothing left, you're just creating a monster.
You are.
And because I've got nothing left to lose.
That's right.
And that's also why they give prisoners TVs and recreation and give them gratuities and the reason why they give prisoners things isn't because they're trying to be nice. It's because is when the prisoner plays up, they can take things away. You've been a bad boy, we're taking your TV. You've been a bad boy again, we're going to take your radio. You've been a really bad boy, now we're going to take your single cell. You have to bunk up with a few other people. So the only reason they get incentives is for compliance. And then when you don't comply, they take things away. That's exactly how they treated us in COVID. Is when you didn't comply, you got things taken away. Now, I was working in a prison when this all started.
Right.
Now, one of the most mind-blowing things I ever heard was they started the rollout at a prison farm where it was a Pfizer vaccination.
Right.
And the officers asked if a prisoner refused, what can we do about it? Because we want to be safe.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we can't force it on them. And he went, why not? Oh, because it's against their human rights. Now, prisoners was still able to work. They'll still be able to use the gym. It was still normal everyday operation.
Sure.
While the society was locked down. So during COVID, prisoners had more rights and more freedoms than the population. Now, that's disturbing in every way.
Yeah.
In every way. Well, we were in a bloody big prison, weren't we? You know, we really were. And we were the whole state was being run by absolute fools. I think when
You're being kind.
I'm being very
kind to them.
I mean, I think with McGowan, I found very interesting with McGowan. I watched as everything progressed, and I actually saw just how weak he was. I saw the fear in him and all of that.
Amazing.
And I thought, wow, look, I'd heard all the stories, and I know people who know him and yada yada, the behind the scenes stuff. But when you see someone, so you kind of believe that element of it. But when you see the man imploding in front of your very eyes, I was in an event, and he absolutely wouldn't make eye contact with me. He was like. We're only a few feet away, and he's no, because you've got his measure. These are actually, and to kind of your point before, these are weak men and women, and that's what, and the people above them have the control over them. Yeah.
And you look at Roger Cook. He's as weak as they come.
Yep.
I was working security at a VIP event, and he rocked up. His wife was nowhere to be seen. And he was running around in the VIP area with a very flamboyant young man.
Right.
And going in and out of the toilets with him. I don't know what he was up to, but I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw it. My witness.
I can't say I'm surprised.
You heard it right here on Edge Radio Australia.
That's right. I met Roger Cook for the first time in 2009, and my overwhelming feeling was that man is as weak as piss. Like, I couldn't believe how pathetic he was. And I hate that the wet fish handshake and the whole box of ice and everything. He had a hand pass for every problem. He just had he wasn't a man. He was certainly not a leader. And we now see him as the figurehead in front of our state.
And speaking of bullying, there were staffers in his office who were bullied, and they had to take him to the IRC.
Why don't we hear this?
We don't hear these things, but I said it's NDA, cash them out, see you later.
Yeah.
But we talk about who's a bully, and it's weak people who are bullies.
One of the questions that came up before, and we're absolutely pushing time, so I'll just try and be quick, but about the fact of, with whistleblowers, all right? Like, what other way is there apart from just what can people do effectively when they want to blow that whistle?
Effectively, again, it just comes down to making sure that you cover yourself. So if you're going to take your employer or an employee to account, you need to make sure you've got something to back it up with. If you don't have something to back it up with, you're wasting your time because it's all based on evidence.
Yep.
Now, if your evidence is overwhelmingly great and proves what you're claiming, then you're not going to be going through the turmoil of trying to sort it out. Most reasonable people, most reasonable companies will get you to the negotiating table and resolve it as quickly as possible. If you're taking on the government, that's a whole new story. Like I talked earlier about that defense lawyer for the in the US.
Yes.
If you try and make a government or an agency look bad, they're going to fight you all the way. You've got to find a middle ground with them to get to a resolution as quickly as possible, because they will chuck an unlimited amount of taxpayers' dollars at it, and people find that out the hard way. If you're going to take on a fight, be prepared for the long haul. If you take on the government, especially in the federal court, expect 7 to 10 years, because that's what you're looking at.
7 to 10 years for one of these
to resolve a case. Yep.
Oh wow, there's a lot in that.
Ching ching.
Look, she's off camera, but thank you, Lisa, for everything you've done there.
Thanks, Lisa.
Well, she's not coughing and dying on us quietly. Well, not even quietly. There's nothing. One little tiny bit of aftershave.
Hugo Boss.
Hugo Boss. Yes. Look, I'm a classy gent. It's nice stuff. With that bombshell, we'll end the show. But I'm going to, before I do that, can we please have you back, mate? Because I think we have just scratched the surface.
We have scratched the surface, and also let people know where they can get hold of you.
Definitely.
So you can get hold of me on my website. Here we go. I should know this.
We hope so.
We'll put it up in the chat or the on the links.
Yes, it'll be up in the links. Yep.
Just all I'll say is, if you do reach out, just make sure that you've got your evidence and you've got something to fall back on. Yeah. I do listen to people with nothing in my hearing and ensuring that I do it in a neutral way. But I also need to see that the story you're telling me is matching up. And the reason why I do that is I like to represent people who are innocent and who are seeking justice, if that's what you deserve. If I find out that you're someone who is just looking for a quick payday and you're making up allegations, you won't get my help. I'll get rid of you very quickly. I will only support innocent people who deserve justice.
You and your pesky damn morals and ethics. Jeez.
Where do you get those from?
Oh, you're not looking after the
Not
crooks.
from
How
the
rude.
judicial system, that's for sure.
Yeah, you'll never make it as a lawyer if that's the case. No. Thank you, Scotty, for being here, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic signing in. Thank you, the lovely Leanne, for some great questions as well. Look, there is so much that, so many conversations that hopefully this conversation has started. So get out there, talk to people, really share the truth. And you just understand that the justice system is literally for sale certainly in this country.
Absolutely.
Pretty much the Western world. And I tend to suggest that probably WA it is the Wild West when it comes to that kind of thing. So thank you for being part of the One Thing here on Edge Radio Australia.
Ever felt lost online finding the right businesses?
Absolutely, like a needle in a haystack.
Introducing the Worldwide Awake Business Directory.
Tell me more.
It's your hub for businesses sharing your values. Discover eco-friendly products, socially responsible services, and more.
Count me in. I'll check it out straight away.
Find businesses aligned with your values on the Worldwide Awake Business Directory. Start making a difference with every purchase.